You know that plant. The one that maybe makes you question your gardening choices. I'm talking about mint. We've all heard the horror stories, Rob.
Yeah.
Maybe even lived them. You plant one tiny little sprig, turn around, and bam! It's not just in the air patch anymore. It's like everywhere, staging a coup in your backyard. It really is the plant where it's glitter, you know? Once it's there, good luck. But what if the story about mint's crazy invasive nature is, well, maybe a bit more complicated than we think? Today, we're going to dig into something fascinating. It's inspired by a piece called The Curious Case of Non-Invasive Mint, found in this collection, Notes on Gardening, Part 628. And the author, just known as Ang, presents this really unusual observation. Despite all the warnings, all the common knowledge, their mint plants, whether they're in the ground or in pots, they just aren't doing that thing, that, relentless takeover. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to explore this contradiction. What did Ang actually see, and what does it tell us about how we understand plants? So here's where it gets really interesting. The big puzzle Ang puts forward is, why aren't they seeing this famous mint invasion? You absolutely expect it to just, sprint across the garden, but Ang's experience is just sitting there, politely, almost. It feels so counterintuitive, doesn't it, compared to everything we hear?
It really does. Because look, the standard understanding, what botanists will tell you, is that mint is invasive, period. And it's specifically because of its rhizomes. These aren't just roots. They're more like underground stems. Think of them as little highways, yeah. Designed to spread out, aggressively push out new shoots, sometimes, several meters away from the main plant.
Several meters?
Exactly. That's why everyone always says you have to contain it, put barriers down.
Okay, so if that's the botanical truth, the common wisdom, how can Ang's actual hands-on observations be so, well, different? Is it just luck? Or is something else going on here? Something about what invasive even means?
And that is the really crucial point Ang brings out so well. What's fascinating here is, while that big runaway spread wasn't happening, Ang did manage to observe and even encourage the mint's, and I quote, characteristic shallow, aggressive, and highly invasive root system, but locally.
Locally. Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
Well, think of it like this. The plant is really vigorous right where it's planted. Strong roots may be dominating a small area like, say, a dinner plate size, but the specific mechanism for that really wide, far-reaching spread, those particular long-distance rhizomes, they just seem to be, I don't know, missing, or maybe dormant in Ang's specific situation. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it kind of suggests that invasiveness isn't just one thing. It might show up in different ways, or maybe it needs specific environmental triggers to really kick into high gear.
That is fascinating. So the roots themselves are aggressive, which fits the bill, right?
Right. Yeah.
But the plant isn't sending out those explorer shoots meters away. Why not? What's the missing link Ang is pointing to that stops that big, dramatic spread we all fear?
Ang is actually really clear on this.
Yeah.
They say they still don't see the rhizomes that are said to spread several meters from the main plant and sprout new shoots. So it's not about the general root mass being strong. It's specifically about those long-distance runners. This raises an important question. If those aren't showing up, then the main engine for that classic mint takeover, well, it isn't running in Ang's garden.
Right. Makes you wonder why. What's different?
Exactly. What conditions are maybe keeping them in check?
And Ang isn't just wondering, they're planning an experiment, right? Transplanting the mint horizontally in a pot. That sounds specific. What's the idea there? What's Ang hoping to find out about these sort of phantom rhizomes?
Yeah, it's a clever approach. By planting it horizontally, Ang is basically trying to create the perfect runway, giving the plant ideal conditions, maybe removing any soil constraints to encourage those long rhizomes to grow where they can be easily seen and studied.
Ah, I see. To force the issue almost.
Kind of. It's a methodical way to isolate that specific spreading mechanism that seems to be missing in action. And, Ang's whole approach here really highlights something important, the value of just looking closely, observing for yourself, questioning the things everyone just assumes, even in something like gardening.
Yeah.
It's about seeing what's actually happening right in front of you, not just going by the general rules.
So what does this all mean for you, listening? Well, the big takeaway seems to be that invasive might be more nuanced than we thought. That specific way mint spreads those famous long rhizomes, maybe it isn't always switched on, even if the plant is still pretty tough locally. It definitely challenges what we thought we knew about this super common plant. And for gardeners, maybe it means thinking why it spreads or doesn't could lead to smarter ways to manage it, right? Less frustration, maybe.
Absolutely. And Ang's careful observation is a great reminder, isn't it? That even stuff we think is settled knowledge can sometimes use a fresh look, a more scientific eye. So here's a thought to leave you with. What are the common assumptions, maybe in your job, your hobbies, just everyday life? What else might benefit from that kind of personal hands on investigation? What could you discover just by looking a bit closer, questioning things a bit more like Ang did with something as simple, supposedly, as mint?